Hello, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Good morning. So, let's see who is in the meeting. Osandi and Onali, Apurva, Disat, Sarah, Shashikala, and Pavishkaran. Few of them they cannot come. They asked me to record the meeting, and they gave a real valid reason not to come for this class, right? Okay, few things to announced. Number one, uh, all right, you can see again all the materials which are uploaded to this website. As usual, you can download especially this classroom workbook, and the notes also you can download. It is better to print this one workbook. And at the end, we try to do maximum tutorial classes. But one one thing we have to do after end of these lessons, especially this one, let's say biological molecules, you can submit tutorial MCQ tutorial online. So you just click this button, and then you can see these MCQ questions. So the right choice, you can send it to me, and you can submit these MCQ questions. And next thing is at the end, you have the test. The test consists for all these unit 2. Could be 50 MCQ. How it work? Uh, I can give a time for you. Then you should sit in front of the computer, and like this way, what you see as like this online form, within the given time you have to submit, like you have to finish the test with the set time, and you get the link. Let's say 9 o'clock you get the link, 10 o'clock you have to submit the test, right? Concerning essay type question and structured essay, only way is you have to scan and send it to me. There's no other way to do that. We will also organize these things. Next thing is the practicals. So each unit you have a practicals. What I do, I will share the password with you. We do the practicals, but you can also spend your time. I think like see the password entered. Yes, then for this section there are 8 practicals. Unit 2, there are 8 practicals, right? These additional supportive material, you can also use them, and as per the practical guide, the practical is here, like the basic information of the practical, not details about the practicals, because structured essay questions, they have asked uh, questions based on these practicals. One of the question I entered, the potato strips are given, and there are concentrations also given, and ask you to design experiment how to measure the water potentials, uh, which is similar to the potato strip water potentials. So it's like uh, 10 marks or 6 marks question in the essay question, right? So here the 8 practicals, uh, the food test, and then microscope. So how to use the microscope? There are questions, even MCQ questions ask, what is the correct steps of using the microscope? That means step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 given, and asking how these steps are exactly line up in a right order, right? These interactive things you can, I will show you how to do it, and then you can also use it, right? Then there are practicals. You have to identify which stage of the cell division. So under the microscope you observe the cell, and then you have to spot what is the correct cell division phase. And some of the practicals, it's again a video. Then the photosynthesis, oxygen consumption, and there are some practicals. They are mostly based on a microscopic, electron microscope, and light microscopic identification of pictures. So it's just pictures. That means the real practical, you prepare the slides and you observe under the microscope. And this one is a germination, seed germination. Yeah, these are the 8 practicals in the unit 2. So these resources also available, and whenever necessary we are doing these practicals. Right, so I mentioned about the practicals, test, unit test, and the assignment, right? So these are the 3 things I just wanted to mention you. And as usual, mostly it is on your hand. You have to study, and then right time you do this test, submit the assignment, and there is no way that you have to wait and study. So typical exams, we think, okay, we learn, and before the exam we work hard and we pass the exam. But here I think is best way, the daily basis, what you have to do, you finish it, and then keep on always reading the notes and try to study the notes. That means you have to remember a lot of things, and then you have to use these things, a lot of information, just in a one question to identify correctly. Right. So next thing, we start moving to the lessons. Right. Do you have any questions to ask? If not, I can continue the lesson. If you have a question, you can ask always, right? I just summarized what we did last week. We learned about the water molecule, and we learned about the carbohydrate molecules. So carbohydrate consists of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. And then we learned monosaccharides, glucose, fructose, and galactose. And we learned the structure of glucose, fructose, and galactose, aldose and ketose, functional group. And also we learn glucose make maltose, galactose and glucose make lactose, and glucose and fructose make sucrose. And we learn the condensation reaction, glycosidic bond, and how this functional group is involved to make these bonds. As a result, only the sucrose lost both functional group. Glucose has one carbon functional group, Fructose has 2 carbon functional group. So sucrose make 1,2 bond, and others they have at least one functional group. As a result, these sugars are called reducing sugars. So these sugars are called reducing sugars because still they have a functional group and they have a reducing ability. They can involve in the chemical reactions. Only sucrose consider as non-reducing sugar. And then glucose molecule join together to make sucrose, a starch, and glucose molecule join together to make a glycogen. And glucose molecule join together to make cellulose, but I mentioned alpha glucose, and this is exception beta glucose. So this is found in the plant cell wall, and we can't digest because we don't have enzymes to break this glycosidic bond created by the 1,4-beta glucose molecules. Right, any question about this last week lesson? Anything to ask? Okay, there's a small thing to finish under still carbohydrate. Then today we can start lipids. Not that much important. There are other structural carbohydrate which is called hemicellulose and pectin. Of course, we're going to learn these two in plants because these hemicellulose and pectin abundant in plant. And there's another one called inulin. Three of them present in the plant. So when we learn in unit 4, we're going to look into these molecules, hemicellulose, pectin and inulin. And even unit 3, when you're going to learn about the animals, there's another structural carbohydrate, and they have a nitrogen. That's a little bit exceptional. They have a nitrogen, and they are mostly present in insect. They make the outer layer of the insect called exoskeleton. And the next one is a peptidoglycan. We will learn peptidoglycan because it is a peptidoglycan present in bacteria cell wall. Right, if you print this workbook, you can also write this information because we don't have so much of writings, only the essentials we are writing. So these are carbohydrate, the polysaccharides. So these are polysaccharides: hemicellulose, pectin, inulin, chitin and peptidoglycan. We don't go too much detail of the structures of this, except cellulose, glycogen and starch. We look little bit details, but these 5 polysaccharides, it is enough to know where they are. Hemicellulose, pectin, inulin, they are in the plant, and chitin, they are in the exoskeleton of the insect arthropoda. Peptidoglycan, bacterial cell wall. So if you remember these 5 and where they exist, that's enough. Alright, today we start the new lesson, lipid. If we can finish this section, we can start cell. Right, any question? No. So then we start to learn the lipid. Other thing I forget to tell you, I have another small change. The change is once we finish unit 2, then unit 3 and 4 is the next 2 unit. Unit 3 based on uh, living organisms and classification, evolution like stories. And the unit 4 is about the plant. I am going to start unit 5 with the unit 3 and 4. That means uh, half of the time in the class we do unit 3, unit 4, it's going like starting with unit 3 and parallelly we start unit 5. You know why? If we finish as soon as possible unit 5, we finish 75% of syllabus. And unit 5 contribution is quite close to 30% of the total marks. You have enough time to study. More time you get to study, then you can better perform at the exam. So, and the other thing is when we study unit 3 and 4, they are not quite interesting, very exciting unit. I mean, when I ask students, they don't like plants. Your plant I don't like, so that's not much interesting. It's boring to learn about the plants. And again, same thing, more about the organism, uh, species, phylum, their characteristics. It's a very not so much excited. But students are very excited to learn human body and the function. So we can couple this unit 3 and unit 4 parallelly with unit 5. We can benefit a lot. You are interested in the class and you have enough time to study, and as soon we finish everything, we finish 70% of the syllabus. It's a massive amount. 70% mean rest of the units, 5 units, they contribute 30%. And exam point of view, unit 5 contribution is 30%. So it's very important unit. After finishing unit 2, you have some basics because you learn the cells, cellular structure, and all these basic really helping you to understand unit 5. So we are in a safe side as soon as if we finish the syllabus. Okay, today we start lipid. Let's quickly go to lipid molecule and see what is it. This lipid molecule consists of again 3 elements: carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. Right? So if we take a lipid molecule, what is the function of lipid? Right? So let's give a chance to you. Can you name a function of lipid? Just type and send me some answers that you are also involving actively to do something. Yes, I got some answer. Good that you really send answers. Energy source, energy source, surround, protect internal organ, store energy, maintain the body temperature, thermal insulator. Yeah, it's fine. All you very well answered. So I mentioned these things when, okay, Pavishkaran said it's a maintain temperature, and similar to this, it's right, thermal insulator. Okay, structural component of cell, Shashikala. Okay, Shashika said it's a structural component, and for me it's a storage energy or something. Okay, let's see now. I just want to not give a small lesson in this case. Imagine this question is asked in the structured essay. List the function of lipid. What you said is all correct. Your answer is correct. But if I really give marks according to the marking scheme, we have to strongly understand we have a set of things to learn based on the teacher's guide and the resource book, everything. I will show you several instances how it is working. I think last time also I showed you. Today also I will show you. If we write something else, it is correct but not in the marking scheme, there's a risk of losing marks. Now if you look what is the functions given in the guides, first one is storage and energy. I think most of them correctly answered your answer, storage, energy. Then the second one is given, it act as a signaling molecules, act as a signaling molecules. I will explain what is signaling molecule. Right. Third one is given, it maintain membrane fluidity. I think Shashikala said it's a part of the structural component of a cell. Yes, it's a part of the cell membrane. It is a part of cell membrane. Now we should write these three. Then you get a 3 marks. Because we are exactly targeting what we have to learn. So the function you listed, all are correct, right? And then for the safe side, you can add fourth one, a thermal insulator. And as Pavishkaran said, maintain the body temperature. Thermal insulator, so it trap heat and we can maintain 37 degree inside the body. Because outside is 25 degree, our body is 37 degree. So we always lose heat. Because 37 to 25 is a huge gap. We lose our heat. At least under the skin we have a nice fat layer which protect losing heat, thermal insulator. Right, but give priority for these three. Storage energy, act as a signaling molecule, membrane fluidity. Okay, we're going to learn membrane fluidity under the cell membrane. So you can still understand it's like a fluid. Fluidity is a fluid. So cell membrane is not a solid, it's not a very strong solid layer. It is a very fluidic layer. And cell signaling is new. I will explain very briefly just for your understanding, not that important greatly to the syllabus, right? So if there is a cell This cell is coordinating with all the body, because body has a very good coordination. So mostly the brain is the coordinating center. Brain send a signal through the neurons to different part of the body, and they can coordinate. And there's another second coordination method is hormone. Hormones are produced different part of the body. Let's say one hormone, insulin. Now insulin is produced in the pancreas. So what is the function of insulin? Insulin maintain the glucose level. Now after we taking a meal, the glucose is coming very close to the cell. If insulin come, the insulin can open this transporter and it can go into the cell. So same way, lipid hormones are estrogen, progesterone and testosterone. So then these hormone can move into the cell. Let's say estrogen. So estrogen hormone move into the cell, and after that estrogen hormone can communicate with this cell, and the cell start to make some difference now. That means effector function. Cells start to make some difference. So estrogen effect is coming and this cell is making the effect. So these molecules are called a signaling molecule. So they bring the message and they give it to the cell. Look, you have to do this because I am here to give this message. So it's a signaling molecule, right? So remember, three functions are storage, act as a signaling, and maintain membrane fluidity. Its cell membrane is not hard structure, it has a fluidic nature. And you can also write thermal insulator at last. So these are the main three functions of lipid. I hope you can add these small notes onto because when you're writing you remember, and also you are actively involving in the class, because always listening it's a one work, but when you start to write your mind is changing to another activity. So it's important to keep on concentrated for a long period of time. Right, storage energy, act as a signaling molecule, membrane fluidity. Okay, then when we learn carbohydrate, we said monosaccharide, polysaccharide, disaccharide and polysaccharide. So what is the lipid group? What is the classification of lipid? So we can say many things are lipid: oil, wax, so much of things we can list. But we have again three category. One is called triglyceride. Second one is phospholipid. Third one is steroid. Now you need to remember these three: steroid, phospholipid and triglyceride. So you can list. Right, I will again share the example. If this question is asked in the exam, list the three group of lipid and you write triglyceride, phospholipid and steroid. Now look at this. 2019 structured essay. Name the three major type of lipids found in organism. So triglycerides, it's also called triacylglycerol. It's fine, triglyceride or triacylglycerol, and can write fat is given mark, a steroid and phospholipid. If we write cholesterol, if we write wax, they are out of this list. So that's why we have to be precise. We have to be precise when we studying. Very carefully select exactly the right thing, and you study the right thing: triglyceride, phospholipid, and steroid. So energy storage, fluidity of plasma membrane, signaling molecules, hormone. Triglyceride, phospholipid, and steroid, right? Then in the workbook, next, saturated fat and unsaturated fat. The topic is given saturated fat and unsaturated fat. Okay, I think I missed a small thing to add to that note, triglyceride. So probably you have a small space. You can add this one as a first triglyceride. Let's see triglyceride first. Triglyceride or triacylglycerol, right? Now I'm going to show a molecule like this. So here H, 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 OH, OH, OH. So this molecule is a glycerol molecule. This is glycerol molecule. Another molecule is called a fatty acid. What is fatty acid? Acid is usually they have this carboxylic group COOH, the carboxylic group, and the fat acid has a long carbon chain like this. This is a long carbon chain, and this carbon chain has a hydrogen attached. Now glycerol and the fatty acid going to react. So this OH combined with this H, and it leave as one water molecule. This is called condensation reaction. Condensation reaction. So most of the reactions are condensation reaction. And after that, this oxygen link with this carbon. So I'm writing here, and this bond is called ester bond. So same thing can happen here, same thing can happen here. So then one glycerol can combine with 3 fatty acid to make a triglyceride. One glycerol plus 3 fatty acids make triglycerides. I did not show the other 2 fatty acids here, but one fatty acid joined with this glycerol molecule by condensation reaction, and the name of the bond is ester bond. So it forms a triglyceride. So you can add this to the workbook, but I think I missed to include the space for triglyceride. Should come first, the triglyceride. So it has 3 carbon, 1, 2, 3, and 3 OH groups, and rest other hydrogens. And this is a fatty acid, but fatty acid, there is no rule they may have a different carbon number. Here only 3, but this carbon varied. The carbon number can be changed. Based on that, we have many different fatty acids. Naturally, there are many different fatty acids existing because they have a different carbon numbers. It is not that important to learn different name of the fatty acid and their different carbon number. Right, if you copy this down, you can join again after the 40-minute session. We almost finished 40-minute session. Now look at this question. This was past exam question. Which one of the following compounds on hydrolysis will yield